Hello guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit of news out of LA, them firing their head coach John Stevens and hiring Willie Desjardins. Now, of course, the LA Kings firing their head coach John Stevens today. So why was he fired, and does Willie Desjardins really fit as head coach of the LA Kings? Now, as first reported by Helene Elliott, the LA Kings officially bit the bullet and fired their head coach, John Stevens. Now, going into the day, there was really a couple of coaches that were on the hot seat. You had Mike Yeo, you had a couple of other coaches, but really John Stevens was the guy that was really on the hot seat when it came to NHL coaches. Now, to understand why he was on the hot seat and understand how he was fired and why he was fired, you gotta go back to when he was first signed with the LA Kings. Now, he started with the LA Kings back in 2010 to be an assistant coach. Now, he was signed for 3 years there, and of course, up until the 2012 season, he ended up winning the Stanley Cup in 2012, and then got re-signed again as an assistant coach again, and then won the Cup again in 2014. So, when he was an assistant coach behind Daryl Sutter, he had a lot of success with LA. Now, Daryl Sutter, we all know what happened to him. He ended up getting fired a little bit before last season, and when it came to the coach, it was an obvious choice to promote John Stevens as the head coach for the LA Kings. And going into that season, and throughout the season for the LA Kings, it really did work, and it seemed like the LA Kings were back in the playoff fight. Now, you had a few players in LA really having resurging type seasons. Most notably, I'd say Dustin Brown, who was fantastic last season after having a couple of terrible years, and made that contract look a lot better. I think that's mostly because of John Stevens being the head coach as to why Dustin Brown's career right now has turned around. And another guy in Anze Kopitar, I mean, he had almost an MVP season behind John Stevens, and with John Stevens as the head coach, he even turned a couple of star players for LA back to where their primes were. Now, that year was pretty successful for the LA Kings. They ended up making the playoffs. While they did get swept in the first round by Vegas, Vegas ended up making the Stanley Cup final, so a little bit of an asterisk there when it comes to the LA Kings and their playoff performance. Jonathan Quick had a much better year, especially in the playoffs versus Vegas. He was stellar, and overall, I think it was a pretty successful year for LA when some predictors really didn't have him making the playoffs. I don't think I had him making the playoffs, so in all honesty, last year was really good for both John Stevens and the LA Kings. But this year, though, it was a completely different story. They started the season 4-8-1, not what the LA Kings wanted, and especially getting guys like Kovalchuk in the offseason. They wanted to see better results. And with John Stevens, he's the easy guy to blame for their losses so far. But in all honesty, I think it has more to do with the team situation than it does John Stevens. Yes, the LA Kings have not played all that great, but I don't think we should really attribute that to John Stevens. At least in my eyes, what I saw from LA last year was a much different team than what I was used to. They were a little bit faster, but they were able to make plays, and of course Jonathan Quick was amazing last year. But really this year, it's a complete 180. When I see LA games, they're completely slow. It's like they were going back to 2016 when I think when they missed the playoffs. But when it comes to LA, they have that old roster. They're one of the oldest rosters in the NHL. So when you come to see these records and when you come to see these games, honestly, I'm not that surprised that LA hasn't played all that well at this point. And I think one of the main reasons as to why LA has not performed so far has been Jonathan Quick. He was injured to start the season, then he came back for a couple of games, and then got re-injured again. Now he needs surgery, and now it's just a complete dumpster fire in that goalie situation. Now they have Jack Campbell, who hasn't played all that badly in net, but they have no backup. I think Peter Budaj is their backup to Jack Campbell right now. So that's not a great goaltender situation, and they were banking on Jonathan Quick having another great year for LA to even sniff the playoffs. And now Jonathan Quick is injured, he's having surgery, so pretty much that goaltending is a no-no from now on. And while it seemed like Anze Kopitar had an almost MVP-type resurgence last year, this season it's been completely different. He only has 6 points, I think, in, 14 games so far. He has not been good at all, and at least offensively, he's not been what LA needs him to be. LA needs him to be what he was last year, which was a 90-point guy that would get a lot of points and would be right back to where he was. But with Anze Kopitar, if he can't produce points, the LA will not make the playoffs, and that's pretty much just been a stated fact for the last few years, and we've seen that being consistent throughout the last few years, and even throughout Anze Kopitar's career. Okay, so it's fine. Maybe John Stevens was fired for a reason. So, who are they going to replace him with as LA's head coach? Willie Desjardins. Oh no. I'm not saying that Willie Desjardins is bad, but I'm saying he's bad. At least for the position that LA is going to put him in, there really is no chance to succeed in LA for Desjardins. I'm sorry, but he is just the completely wrong option, at least in my opinion. It is time for the LA Kings to admit what their problems are. They are a slow team in the forward group, in the defense group. Everywhere you look on this team, it is slow, it is old. And right now, LA is doing nothing to do and to really change that. The Graviteh signing and the offseason spread warning that LA is not on the right track. You already are a pretty old team, and then you sign Ilya Graviteh, the 35-year-old, to a 3-year deal. It doesn't make any sense, and with this signing, I don't see that changing at all. And with the LA Kings, it's just such a weird team right now to really watch, to really feel, and to really just talk about, because I think there's an obvious solution here. Get young, and they just have not been able to do it time after time again, and it's been hurting them for the long run time after time again. And I honestly thought they had a chance to maybe get a lot younger, get a lot more younger players, and to maybe get some more prospects, especially after the 2 cups. You know, maybe they wanted to settle down for a little bit, maybe retool a little bit with the somewhat older core that they had back in like 2014, 2015, 2016. They had their chance to do so, but they never really did. They never really committed to that retool, and just a slight retool would have been fun, but they never did that, and they never even attempted to do that. So for me, I'm just mad at LA for missing the opportunity to get a lot younger, to get a lot better, and to get prospects that would actually fill into the team. Guys like Adrian Kempe are very, very good. Guys like Kale Clagg and Gabe Villari are nice in the system, but they need more than that. They need a full youth movement, and right now, LA just has not done it. I don't want to compare them to the Detroit Red Wings. They keep going down this path of signing older players, and to keep prioritizing the oldness over the youth, it's not going to end up well. And I think that honestly, in the last couple of years, we've seen the red flags happening, and this John Stevens firing, I think, is just the start of that. We obviously know that their plan is to stay competitive and to keep making the playoffs, but with this old team, and with the team how it is, it's just not going to happen. And some of the adept guys have really disappointed, some of the guys overall has really disappointed, so that might be some hope for the future, that it will get better, and some guys will rebound, but you can't just really expect that. You can't just rely on players rebounding for you to make the playoffs. They got to get some more youth in this team, and they got to retool, at least for 1, maybe 2 years. I mean, honestly, at this point, it could get fixed, but they're just really not really caring. They want to make the playoffs, obviously, but it's just not going to work. And yes, Willie Desjardins is only an interim coach, so he'll likely not be the long-term coach for LA. But I think if this is anything to prove, I think LA is going to go with maybe an Alan Vigneault or somebody that will make them competitive in the playoff race, maybe make them a playoff team. But right now, I just don't see that as the answer for LA's problems, and I think that really postponing this, making the playoffs again, and postponing the problems will ultimately do them no good. So obviously, if you're watching this, you know that I do not like this John Stevens firing. I really did like what John Stevens did last year, and just with Willie Desjardins coming in, and likely another slow, old, and brittle coach coming in, honestly, I just don't really like the direction that LA is headed, and this John Stevens firing just screams red flags, and really doesn't give me any hope for LA's future, their bona fide future. So while I think this firing was coming, and I think a lot of us expected it after LA's bad start, I still don't agree with it at all. I still don't agree at all with the firing and the reasons behind it, which ultimately makes me pissed off, but of course I know it's a business, and John Stevens so far this season has not gotten it done, even if the circumstances were against him. But of course, with this firing and the hiring of Willie Desjardins, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about LA's situation? What do you think about the rant that I kind of went on in this video? And of course, what do you think about John Stevens getting fired and Willie Desjardins taking his place? But if you want some more Grav goodness, you can watch this video where I talk about NHL jerseys and the NHL jerseys that NHL players love the most. But that is going for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Again, tell me below what you think of this whole situation and John Stevens being fired from the LA Kings. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.